Thank you for staying with us thus far. We're now into the lifestyle segment. And today, there's no doctor in the studio. And we're not talking food. No. We're talking something else entirely. We're talking financial myths. There must be plenty of those. Especially from the days of our parents and our grandparents, when they didn't believe in putting money in the bank. Money had to be under your mattress and stuff like that.
Or in colo.
Okay. So the thought of financial planning can be overwhelming, and the number of conflicting advice can also leave you feeling lost, despondent when it comes to planning ahead to make the most of your financial situation. People often think that they have little chance to accumulate wealth because they or their parents didn't grow up with money. Well, because you didn't grow up in money doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and make money now. I mean, a lot of people who have money...
Are you busting the myths already?
A lot of people who have money now didn't come from money. Many of them went to school under trees.
There's some called old money
Went
now.
to school stark naked, some of them. But they managed to make money somehow. How did they manage this? We have a financial expert in the studio, Mr. Kuro Ngobo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Myths about money. Tell us about that. How is it that you can come from nothing and yet become very wealthy?
The first is to clarify what a myth is. It's something usually very popular, but not always true.
True.
There will be some aspects of it may be true, but usually there's some untruth in it. One has plagued me for years, and I broke free from it a few years ago. So you're driving a car and your fuel is short. This is good for this time, by the way. The usual thing to do is to turn off the air conditioner so you can conserve fuel. Some part of it is kind of correct. So I asked several technicians, not just mechanics, and they explained to me, a brand new car is built to do everything in the car.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need extra energy to power your AC or anything else. If your car was a 2002, been in Nigeria for 20 years kind of car, the engine is old. So when you put on the AC, the tendency is it does a little more work, so it pulls a little more fuel. I've driven brand new cars before, and when my fuel was short, I turned off the AC. And I was sweating in the car because of this myth. And that's how myths work. So some of them that have to do with money are things like money is the root of all evil. First of all, that's not true. It actually reads the love of money, the excessive love of money is the root of all evil. Because money answers all things. In the same book where it said money is the root of all evil, right? The thing you mentioned first is also key. How do people come from nothing and then become people who have? Most times it's a choice. There's people say it's luck. I don't think luck is a word on its own without other components. So luck is preparedness, meeting opportunity. They were doing something, and when the opportunity came, they took it, amongst other things. So I really think people have to first decide that I want to break this lack cycle. You have to first decide to. You can be poor in your mind, and opportunities will come past you every day, and you take nothing, you do nothing with them. Like the red car theory. Did you notice any red car coming here today?
I wasn't looking.
You weren't looking, exactly. But if I said for every red car you noticed and captured, I'd pay you $100. Some pink cars will become red in your head. Because now you're looking for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are these, how do these myths affect our lifestyles?
A major thing, or some things that affect what we do, two very important ones are our thoughts and our feelings. In fact, your attitude, by simple definition, is how you think and feel about someone or something. So I like to ask questions like, what's your attitude towards Nigeria? If someone's attitude towards Nigeria is that Nigeria is a failed state, you would, by default, do things to make it even worse. So I'd beg you to leave. So what determines what we do on a regular basis is how we think and how we feel. And myths are part of the things that form our beliefs, our value systems. So when you begin to think something seriously, it affects everything you do. Oh, don't point. This one is not a myth. Maybe it's a, I don't know if it's taboo, what they called it. When I was a kid, you pointed to an eagle, you'd have lines on your fingers. You kick a stone, your mother's back will break. Those, I heard a lot of them.
Well, there was a financial myth that I read only a few days ago.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know we were going to be discussing financial myths today, which said that if you stored your money in a wooden container, that it would easier multiply than if you stored it in any other kind of like
container.
Leather or, I mean, come on. I just thought to myself, what does the material
have to do with this? Maybe to destroy the wood would be more difficult than to unzip the leather.
You know that when we were growing up, there were piggy banks.
Yes.
And most of them were box. But these days, they're ceramics.
Yes.
So I should not store my money in a ceramic piggy bank.
I should put it in the colo.
The wooden colo. The wooden one. Oh.
Not the clay one, the wooden one.
Colo.
Anyway, one other myth. Okay, so I asked, how do these myths affect our lives?
Yeah.
Now, the reason I asked that question is because, particularly now, in these days, in this age and time, things are quite significantly costlier than before.
Yes.
And people are looking for all kinds of ways to get by, balance out, and things like that. How do these myths, do you think these myths affect our daily lives today that we either need to correct or embrace?
So a myth, again, is generally accepted, whether it is completely true or not. What you believe, what you value, determines what you do every day. So somebody who, for instance, thinks that if I find work and I do the work, I'll make money from it, right, would usually be guided to, hey, let's find work to do and make the money rather than just, for instance, pray, or just pray, P-R-E-Y, on other people to get the money to come in. I watched someone speak one day and it hit me, Kunle Shorinyo, and he was expressing something that you need to have attitudinal support. You have to give attitudinal support to a curse for it to affect you. The way he said it was this: if someone tells a person who's hardworking, you'll be poor for the rest of your life as a curse, it's a waste of time.
Exactly.
If somebody is lazy and not working, and you tell the person you'll be poor for the rest of your life, you are simply just helping the person to become what he's already planning to be. So imagine how myths and beliefs would naturally guide what we do or say, and how, if you can sit down and think about them and ask, how does this add up today? Maybe we'll change what we're doing. Pick the example that was given just now about putting money in a wooden box. When we were kids, they just told you what to do and you just did it.
Yeah.
You don't ask questions. How do you say it in Nigeria? Children of nowadays, they know they hear word.
No, they hear. They just ask why.
Thank you. They ask over and over again. So if you don't question some of those myths, like I began to question the one about your car and the AC, I just continue to do what I know best to do. I will believe it is correct. I will believe the results will be good for me. I would even believe I'm helping other people by doing what I do. Meanwhile, I could actually be limiting myself because of those myths and those beliefs. Anything, whether it has to do with money or general lifestyle, the way you think and feel, the beliefs you have, usually affect what you say, what you do, and then the results you get.
You remind me of what my mechanic told me one day. Of course, I grew up having to put up the AC before I started the engine.
Yes.
My mechanic said, look, whether you put on the engine, whether you put up the AC or you don't put up the AC, this car is going to pick it up anyway. You may want to ask...
So you can leave your AC on and turn your engine on.
See, I just busted her myth. But, you know,
Exactly. It's safe.
Okay. I think it probably also depends on your car. If it's not 2002, as safe. You know, but you know the reason I'm asking. So essentially, you're saying that our attitudes can affect our finances.
Yes.
The reason I'm asking is so that someone will know that it's not just how much money you have that is significant. It's even your disposition towards it.
True.
Tell us about that.
I'm excited to be here talking about this because just yesterday we were talking about personal finance for finance professionals, bank people, bank staff. I was a banker for years. I don't think I was financially sensible with my personal money when I was in banking, like I am today. So I'll give you a few things that come to mind. And most of it is tied to how people see me. In fact, I think that's the biggest challenge, how people see me. So I tell people, if you work somewhere, you should give as much as you can to your employer, including advertising the company and all of that. Some people say, no, I can't advertise where I work on my social media because billing, as we call it in Nigeria, would increase. So I told them something. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. Charles Swinton said that. It's not them asking you for money that's the issue. It's what you do when they ask you for money that's the issue. Because they will ask whatever you do. If you had named your money up front, so you got money 1 month and you said this portion is going to fees, this is going to house rent. I mentioned this some time ago here. If your rent is 1.2 million naira a year, why aren't you saving 100,000 every month? Why is it commonplace to wait till 3 months to the expiration of your rent and then disturb the rest of the world to help you raise your rent? When you had a whole year and you could have been saving 100,000 naira a month towards it.
So even if it's not complete,
there's just a little portion you need to add to it. And if you want to know if you can really afford the house, the thing to ask is, can you save 100,000 naira a month towards that rent? If you can't afford the house.
Go move somewhere else.
Move somewhere else. But all those things about how people will see me, the work I do, people will tell you things like, you can't drive this kind of car, it's not your status. I mean, you understand? And then you imbibe those thoughts, you go around watching out for people and how they say, those things just affect what we do every day. We spend money we don't have, who said that, Will Smith, on things we don't need to impress people who don't care about us regularly. So yes, you're very correct. Every aspect, how you make the money, first of all, what you do with the money, secondly, and whether you think multiplying it makes any sense. To some people, the money will come. Just do what you need to do with it. And they don't think beyond today, like what happens if this job is gone. Many Nigerians, by the way, are 1 or 2 salaries away from poverty. We should capture that somewhere. Many people today are 1 or 2 salaries, paychecks, away from poverty. How do I know? People should ask them. So you're listening, let me talk to you now. Can I talk to them now?
Yeah.
Good. So you're listening to this, ask yourself one question. If your regular income stops today, how many days or weeks or months would it take before you begin to beg for money? Answer the question, then you know how close you are to that multidimensional poverty.
How close you are to Katawampus.
In this day and age, that things have gotten way, way out of hand. People can hardly afford to eat. How can people save?
Okay, so first thing is...
Because you spoke about saving 100,000 a month.
Every month.
If you know that your rent is 1.2.
Yes.
So, suppose you can't afford out of what you earn to save 100,000 naira every month.
Well, the first thing you should do is find accommodation you can afford. We haven't talked savings yet.
Okay.
Because you see, even these people, a myth about savings is that savings is always putting money away that you can use later. Sometimes savings is putting money away to meet an expense. So the 1.2 million naira example I gave is savings, but it is savings to meet an expense.
Okay.
All right? So it's possible to be saving. Savings is not just, let's put money away because we would be able to spend it later. That's the first part. So that's one myth we should turn around.
Dispense with.
Yeah, dispense with. So the question is, how can people save at times like this? Is first of all to make decisions. The right kind of decisions that would then free up some money around you. If you think about it seriously, there's not much difference between pap and custard. The amount of sugar you put may just make them taste the same.
No,
and
sometimes
the
colors. In fact, the color is most likely the same.
And then the packaging.
Maybe the packaging, but in the bowl and in my stomach, pap and custard.
Same thing.
The difference, the financial difference between both could be significant. Is significant.
Yes.
Especially, of course, if you buy the corn and you soak the corn and you grind the corn and then
you know the process yourself.
I know the process. Yes.
You make the pap yourself.
Make the pap yourself. One simple way to look at it. So if people need to make changes that would then allow them save, or because I don't even think savings first, become more financially free. Being able to remove the stress of money being an issue.
Okay.
Just to do that, first of all, is to think your lifestyle and then start making those kind of decisions.
Okay. There's something that I want to ask you. So it so happens that, you know what, Tony, let's take a short break for just about a minute or two, and we'll be right back. But please, let's bring up that Katawampos thing just once.
One more time.
I'll be right back. All right, so, just a quick one that I wanted to ask you earlier. I just did a little calculation here,
Okay.
Mr. Ngobo, and I've cited it earlier. You didn't anticipate that at the beginning of this year, fuel was going to be 1,000 naira per liter.
Per liter.
Now you have a vehicle that you spent about, you buy about 50 liters.
Yeah.
Every week. Let's say every week.
Say every week.
Could be twice a week, but let's say every week. Multiply that by 4. Every month, that's 200,000 naira. That wasn't part of your budget when the year began.
Sure.
At the end of the year, that will be 2.4 million.
Yes.
I planned to save this year. Now I cannot save. Or can I still save?
Okay. I just take the whole hog in one fell swoop.
Okay.
This reality has hit me, so some changes need to be made.
Yeah.
The first constant is usually the income. It doesn't change. You don't get an increase just because, even though some people give you a cost of living adjustment allowance, but it comes once. It's not a regular thing. So bottom line is your income is same, expenses have shot up. You need to go and take a look at every expense component and start asking yourself, what is essential? What is non-essential? Before we discuss fuel, are there things in that expense line, or in those expenses, that we can do without? And you need to remove those myths we mentioned earlier and beliefs and how people see me from your mind before you start doing this.
So first of all, deal with the mind.
Deal with the
mind. Mental part of it. Deal with your mental status.
Thank you. Be clear about certain things and try not to allow your feelings to rule thinking. Feelings usually are not correct. They're not true. They could...
Nobody else matters right now.
Me and survival. Maybe me, my family and I.
Yeah, of course.
So imagine the pap and custard example, and imagine cutting off on 20,000 naira from that expense line because we changed custard to pap.
Custard to pap, okay.
Money accumulates when you take small pieces and put it together. So it's possible to, first of all, for the starting point is do a budget. Most people don't even have a budget at all. A personal budget. I spend this much every month and I earn this much every month. If you don't have one, just write those things down that you usually use money for. And start asking yourselves objective questions. If I can't afford it, why do I have both? Why do I have, not both, all of the streaming channels available to me? And how much do I watch them to warrant my having them? Every subscription that I don't need to have. How many people have paid gym subscriptions and then go to the gym for 4 months? But you keep paying the gym subscription. All right, I can go on with so many things. It first starts with, I need to focus on me. My income is not growing, my expense has to crash. For it to crash, we take serious decisions like that. This same car going to work, carpool. So 5 of us in the same area, live on the mainland, work in the same office on the island. We should talk in the office one day. Can we all go to work together 5 days a week, but each day one person drives? So on Monday I drive, 4 of you join me. On Tuesday Ayo drives, 4 of us join you. We do the same thing every day. Go back to your 50K example. You would buy 50,000 naira worth of fuel, assuming, and instead of buying it every week because you went to work 5 days a week with the car, you would go to work 1 day a week with the same car. And at no cost, you would join your colleagues 4 days a week. That already begins to match, bring closer the income and the expense. That's the kind of thing that needs to be done.
That's assuming that wifey doesn't say, well, since Oga didn't go to the office with the car today, let me use the car to feed the kids.
So you have to have that conversation too. If there's a school bus, keep the school bus going.
Okay, but I'm glad we're talking about this because some people need this kind of information out there. Now, you said that people don't have budgets.
Most people don't.
Most of the time, that budget... How many times has your wife called you and said, "Oga,
this budget is not working"?
This budget is not budgeting.
It's not working. It's not budgeting.
So, what happens?
Let's take a company or Nigeria as a whole as an example. We create a budget at the beginning of the year, and we don't usually actualize that budget. In fact, Nigeria's budget for years has been one where we expect to spend more than we earn. So it's not completely out of, I mean, many countries have budgets like that. Of course, the difference then has to come from borrowings and stuff. Let's come back to the individual. If you created a budget, the first thing it does for you, it forces you to have some discipline instilled in the way you do things. So frivolous spending becomes less. Spending on a whim becomes less. Even though the budget is not budgeting, you are doing things from a focused perspective a little more than you used to do.
So there's more clarity.
So there's more clarity.
A little more predictable certainty.
Thank you. You are at the party and they're singing and calling your name and everybody's dancing and spraying. You will receive some sense. Guy, this is not the time to spray. I don't know these people. I don't care about them. I don't have to spray them at the party. Aside the idea of defacing the Naira and co, you would keep your 5,000 Naira in your pocket. Because not as a budget. So the first thing the budget does is it usually probably would not play out the way you planned for it to. But it forces discipline first. So you're not looking at line items to say this one is needed, this one is not. You can take those things out. That's the first thing it does. And it notes discipline is you. It's not the economy. It's nothing else. It's just you. Once discipline comes, there's less waste. Once there's less waste, the tendency of the budget to begin to match becomes easier. But you see, when we talk budget most times, my final words here, people focus on the expense side of the budget only. Please, there's an income side too. So can we increase the income?
Thank you. That was going to be my next question.
Good.
How do we people... increasing income will mean increasing capacity, doesn't it?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes not necessarily.
Okay, talk to us about that.
Good. The more
someone he already has his whole day full. He's a bus driver or bus conductor or something, or even he's a salary worker.
Monday
8 a.m. to 5 p.m. commutes for about 3 hours before getting home.
So what can he do differently? Good.
Or add.
Or to add. The intention is to add. First of all, the more you earn, the more you learn, the more you earn. So if you, for instance, begin to learn about money more, you would definitely be able to earn more. If you learn about anything more, you can earn more. So maybe you learn more, you can increase your capacity at work. Same work, they can promote you faster, you can get more income, you can get more sales commission, whatever. Let's set that one aside. There are three things you can do that can make you earn. You sell, you serve, or you solve problems. Sell something. Don't sell everything in your house so your house is not bare. But can you please check for those coolers they gave you on your wedding day? 10 of them, same color, that you stashed somewhere like a caterer. And you've done nothing with for the past 10 years.
Or show glass.
Or show glass. So, first, can you sell them? You changed the mattress, you kept the old one. By the way, I have 2 to sell right now. You know, can you just look around? In finance, they are called non-earning assets. Something you own that is earning you nothing, one, and it's of no use to you right now. That's probably the starting point. Declutter and sell. In Nigeria, there's now an industry around those who help people who want to relocate to sell what they have. So get them to help you sell it. That's a great part to start. With what you are doing today, no employer pays you for 24 hours a day, every day of the week, Monday to Sunday. No employer does that. So there must be some time you can claw back that can be put to some other kind of use. So could you be doing something at home to help somebody resolve a problem and then earn from it? Remember I said 3 things you can do to earn. You can sell. First part of selling is I can sell what I don't need. Or I can help you sell your car, make a margin on it.
I'm not selling, thank you.
I'm just saying in case you want to sell your car. Second is you can solve problems. Every time you solve people's problems, they give you a reward for it. And problems could be as simple as there's no light in my estate, but you have an ice block machine and you can make ice block. Or I don't want to shave every day, whatever the problem is. And Nigeria is a land of plenty of problems. And then thirdly, of course, serve people. I have friends who run errands. Friends as old as I am who will tell you I simply run errands.
Wow.
Yes. So you have a car, you need someone to fix it. It's expensive. You can't sit with them. I'll sit with them. They'll do what they need to do. When they're done and you pay them, I get a 50K cut for that stress. I'm taking the stress off you, and I'm doing that. People run errands for all kinds of, but they have to be trusted first to do that. So please remember those three things. Sell something, serve someone,
Or
solve problems.
Sell something, serve something, or solve something.
I have to be careful talking to
Well, this is the beginning of conversations about this, Kuro. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Kuro Ngobo is a financial expert, and now you know those financial myths are gunshot and bust. And none of them is catawampus. Finally. Anyway, we're back right after now for the home stretch.